So then this brings us to our second project, which took place at Key Biscayne, and we conducted about a year-long study at the village of Key Biscayne. So the main objective of this study was to evaluate the potential sources of enterococci, and they were really interested in seeing why there has been an increase at their beach with the number of advisories. So we have identified 3 different sources that can be possible sources of enterococci. So the first source we looked at was the sewage from the Central District Wastewater Treatment Plant, and we looked at the human and animal sources as well. And the last source was looking at seaweed and other factors. And one thing to mention is that Key Biscayne is a beach that doesn't allow dogs, but people will always bring their dogs onto the beach, so that's why we were looking at animal sources as well. So within our year-long study, we collected monthly samples of water, sand, and of seaweed whenever there was seaweed at the beach. And we kind of broke down our seaweed samples into 3 different categories. And this is based off of the moisture content. So for our fresh seaweed, it's defined as a moisture content as greater than 0.74. Our senescent seaweed is anywhere between 0.74 and 0.54, and our decomposing seaweed is anything less than 0.53. And it's interesting to note that as the freshness starts to decrease and our moisture content starts to decrease, the amount of bacteria that's found in the sample starts to increase. So you can see the decomposing sample has a large number of bacteria. And Key Biscayne does integrate their sand and seaweed, so it's kind of like mixing in the seaweed into the sand. So we collect a integrated sand sample as well. And it's interesting to note that this integrated sand sample also has high levels of bacteria as well. So some of the conclusions from the study is that we know for a fact that the Central District Wastewater Treatment Plant does not contribute to the levels of bacteria that is at the beach, but we have found that the dry seaweed, the dry sand do contribute high levels of bacteria that is found at the beach. And when you combine the seaweed and the sand to get your integrated sand, that also has high levels of bacteria. And for this study specifically, we looked at microbial source tracking, or MST, and it's interesting to note that for the human, because we looked at 5 different markers, so for our human marker, it is consistently higher than our animal marker, which includes the gulls and the dogs.